Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sarah from Handmade After Dark, and I am back at last with the online class to go. I'm a little bit earlier than I normally would be. Normally, these videos would be much later at night, but for a few reasons, I need to do it a little bit earlier today, so that's what I'm doing. So all of the details for the online class to go will be added to the Facebook page, and also the details will be in an email that will be coming out tomorrow and also on my blog. But the class for this month is featuring the Storybook Moment Suite from the new mini catalogue. And I'll just switch my screen and show you the pages from the catalogue. So the Storybook patch and Storybook Friends stamp sets and the coordinating dies. And then there are two DSPs that go with this suite. So for this month, the main set that I'm using is the Storybook Friends stamp set. So I'll just put that aside. I've got 3 cards. These are the 3 for this month. So one of the good things with the dies from the Storybook Friends is that they do cut out some of the images from the paper. So there are die cut images in the paper set, paper pack, but then also the dies will cut out some of the images from some of the full paper sheets. So we will start with this one. And I've got pieces here. So I've pre-cut the dies just to make it a little bit easier. Just find my card base. And I might need to replace that one. That's what happens when you splatter white ink everywhere. Give me a sec. I will just grab another piece. Canvas. That one doesn't look. And of course, it's sitting at the bottom of my pile of stuff. It's all right. All right. So pecan pie base. And then we've just got some boho blue and the new basic beige cardstock. That the basic beige goes really well with this suite. So if you are buying any of this suite and the paper, I would highly recommend you get some basic beige as well if you don't already have it. So I will do the stamping first. So just going to stamp the sentiment in black on the die cut. Just adjust it. Oh, sorry. Excuse the mess. You weren't meant to see that mess. All right. Let's start sticking this together. So I'm going to stick. So this is just some of the DSP that I cut out. And so you just want to make sure that you trim it so that it fits behind the frame without any little bits sticking out. So I have checked that one and it does fit. So just not too fussed if the glue goes outside the edges a bit, because it will be stuck down, although I will be using dimensionals, but it's all right. And we'll just adjust to make sure it's in the frame properly and nothing is sticking out. That looks good. All right, let's put that to the side and we'll start putting this together. And apologies to anyone who is watching and commenting who I'm not replying to. Had a few technical hitches and I can't see comments at the moment, but I will reply to them a bit later when I get a chance to look at them properly. And hopefully I will have all the technical glitches sorted out by next time. Okay. Now, for this one, we are going to use dimensionals, but as you can see from the shape, you've got to be careful where you put them, because there's lots you got to get in between. So the mini dimensionals are really good for this, and also cutting up the sort of outside strips can work really well for these as well. Where are my scissors? There they are. All right, that should be enough. Yep. All right, so we're going to stick that about there. That will go down there. But before we stick that down, I'm going to grab some of the ribbon. So this ribbon also goes with this particular suite. Don't need a lot because we just need to make a little loop. So once I've got that about where I want it, I'll just get some tear and tape and stick that down. So we're just going to loop it over. Just want a small loop at the top. And that works. And then we'll add the gems to stick it down a bit more. And I will do this one on dimensionals as well. You pack. Let's just go down the bottom. Get rid of the dimensional backings. And then, yeah, some of the, so these are the antique pearls. And I'm going to grab, now actually, before I do that, I'm actually going to grab the blue dot and stick one just behind the ribbon. So the ribbon is going to sit down there. I'm going to just stick one on the back. It just helps it to stick down a bit more and makes it a bit easier when you put the gem on. It just makes that stick a little bit better, and I've actually gone a little bit too low with that one. I'm just gonna adjust it slightly. I don't know if this is going to work, but we shall see. There we go. Better put that cap back on before I stab myself with that side. And just add a couple of the small ones down here. And that one is done. I will add an insert to that one later, but that is card number 1 done. Okay, so card number 2, which one will we go with? All right, let's go with this one for the second one. So I've got here, and again, I have pre-cut the die cut pieces, and the image, this is also from the DSP. So that's another one that you can cut out from the paper. And I need, what do I need? Card base. Next 2 cards both use the basic beige card base. Now, slight difference with this one to the sample, mainly because for the sample I put it together a little too quickly and forgot, but you can do it either way. I'm actually going to use the ribbon this rather than just the strip of cardstock that I've got here, but you can do either. So that's just a bit of old olive cardstock if that's the one you want to go with for that one. All right. So we will do the stamping first. And where is my... I have pre-stamped my sentiment already, but we'll do this one. So this piece, when you cut out the frame, you get the inner piece as well. And so we are going to stick that back in for this one and also the next one as well. So for this one, I'm just going to stamp, when I find it, this one, this image, and we're just going to use crumb cake. And this is die cut in basic beige. And so you don't need the whole length, so decide which part you actually want showing. And then we're just going to color a little bit. And I just realized I forgot. I'll use, I think these are my old crumb cake blends over here. Hopefully there's, yeah, that'll be fine. So just going to color using granny apple green. So the light and dark for the leaves, and it's not, don't have to be too careful with this one, just any of the little leaves that are sticking up. And then the carrots. So you can use light pumpkin pie, or you could use peach pie would probably work. And then I'm just going to add just a little bit underneath. Don't have to be too fussy with these bits. Having said that, I am going to touch up that one, which I didn't quite get. All right. Let's put that aside and start putting this together. So grab the base. And then just some old olive cardstock. I'll just get rid of some of those dimensional backings. And I should probably make sure I actually put the ribbon on before I put the next layer down. All right. So we just want enough just to go around that. And I'm just going to use some tear and tape to hold it down. Thankfully, this particular ribbon does work a lot more nicely with the tear and tape than some of the other ribbons do, as some of you may remember from some of my previous videos where we didn't really get along, although of course now that I've said that, it probably won't, but we shall see. Worked in practice. They just want it a bit up from the bottom, so probably about there. That would stick down. Okay, now we will add these ones in. I'm going to add the frame in first, and then we'll stick the inside bit. So I'm going to use the green glue for this one. It's just a little bit easier. You could also use the fine tip glue pen as well, because that does work quite nicely on these very fine pieces. Or the adhesive sheets. That's also another good option that can be a lot quicker and easier to work with. All right. So I'm just going to let that sort of stick one down and then let it fall, just so I don't pull it out of alignment. And then just check, yep, that is going to fit. And I haven't got it out of shape. So stick that one in and then grab some more dimensionals, both for the sentiment and the rabbit. All right. It's, oh, sentiment, and then all that is left for this one is to add some embellishments. So once I find them, they are probably staring me in the face, as most things usually are. Yep, there they are. All right. Oh, I should probably put that end back on. I'm going to add a few extras to this one compared to the last one, just because, as we can. Hey, doesn't want to stick, or doesn't want to come off. There we go. Righty. Actually, no, sorry, I'm moving that one. There we go. That's better. All right, so that is card number 2. So you can either have the ribbon or the old olive strip, or if you have some old olive ribbon, you could use that as well. All right, last one out. Hiding. So this one. I've got a few extra pieces. So this one is stamped and die cut. So I have already done that ahead, and I've also colored it just using the blend. So that one uses the crumb cake for the rabbit petal pink, and then just the balmy blue in the light and the dark. And if you wanted a different one, you could put this one in. So again, crumb cake, granny apple green for the lettuce, and the light calypso coral, light and dark for the strips for that one. Oh, and some smoky slate for the straps, the suspenders. So you could have either image for this one. And again, we're going to be using the background from the frame as well as the frame. Word of warning with these dies, because they're quite detailed, it can be a bit finicky. I'd recommend running this die through your machine at least a couple of times. And if you find pieces are still stuck, take your pick tool will help a lot to get those out. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend you get one. They are very versatile and very, very helpful. All right. Now let me just pull out the base. So using basic beige again. All right, let's do stamping first. So we just need to stamp on this one. So this time we are using the brick wall, and I'm just going to stamp that in basic gray. And I'm going to try and get where the greenery is in the image, because that's sort of the bit that we're going to try and, that's the bit we're going to color. So we want that roughly in the center. And you could also use smoky slate to stamp that as well. So just going to use the granny apple green, so the light and the dark. And I think Peggy has woken up and is going to want some attention very shortly. Let's see if she'll let me finish. And then we'll just add a little bit of extra detail. Do it. All right. And we have a bit of ribbon on this one as well. So I'm actually that's going to go around the whole thing to cover where the two bits of DSP join. So I'm going to stick those down first, and then we'll stick them to base. get that down, and then we'll cover the join. So there it is. I do need to clean up my desk. It is very messy. Working on a lot of stuff at the moment, so it's getting a bit hectic. Speaking of which, for those who aren't on my email list and may not be aware, the registrations for online global retreat are open, and early bird pricing ends next week. I think it's Wednesday next week. So if you want to register, there should be a link on my Facebook page, but you can always just message me for more information, and I can send you the link if you don't already have it. So that is going to be held on the 21st and 22nd of Feb. Although for those in Australia, given the time differences, and time zones, most likely if not all of the sessions will end up being on the Saturday for us, just because of the time differences. That's usually what ends up happening, but videos are available to watch at any time. So if you can't make the scheduled time, you can just come back and watch later. Or you can watch over and over as many times as you like. All right, let's stick this down onto the base. Once I get it the right way round, that might help. All right, so that's just going down there. And I'm about to run out. I think I have plenty of refills. Now, the fun part is trying to stick this down, because as happens pretty much every time, I forget about the adhesive sheets until after I've cut them out and realized they're going to be a pain to glue. But that's all right. If you are getting the Class to Go kits, I will be die cutting this with the adhesive sheets attached, so you won't need to try and add glue to the back. I will be using the adhesive sheets. I would use my fine tip glue pen, but I don't have it up here. So green glue it is. And there's one little bit that just needs to be put down. There we go. And like the last one, you kind of just want to let it sort of stick one section down and then let it fall to make sure you get it in shape, so it's not wonky. Just take that bit out. Then we'll just Dimensionals. So for next month's class to go, I will be using the same suite, but I'll be focusing more on the Storybook Garden Patch set. So that will be the focus of next month's class to go. And I'll actually be using this particular suite for all my lives this month. So each week, the lives will all be focused on this suite, and I will be putting together a tutorial bundle of all the cards and projects from this suite, and I will have that available to purchase sometime after the second, so February's class to go has been done, because that will be included in that. And anyone who has ordered one or both of the online class to goes will be getting a significantly reduced rate on the bundle, because obviously you will have already some of those projects. So it will be essentially be just a very nominal amount if you have already purchased one or both. And you never know, depending if I'm in a good mood, you may just get it for free, because why not? All right, that is card number 3. So I'll just bring them all back in. Just move everything else out of the way. Where's my first one? Hiding. There we go. So there are the 3 cards. So this is January's online class to go. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back next week just for a regular live, and hopefully each week going forward. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.